Oh, yeah. Freak out. Yeah, I'm looking right into the video scope, And this is Macho Man, #1 Macho Man impersonator, past, present, future, yeah. And I'm here to tell you, you are watching 49er Minded with Bashar. Yeah, the cream of the crop. Dig it?
49er Minded. It's not just a thought process, but a way of life. 49er Minded. 49er Minded. I can't shake it. It's 49er mind that I got. It's 49er shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A written gold session about our red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions, let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the slot? That's how it's been in the squad. All that back, all that crack, all that straight fumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the story on, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind. 49er minded. It's not just a thought process, 49er minded, but a way of life. Bashar. 49er minded. Way of life. 49er minded.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. We got Raphael waiting in the chat, says, what up, Bashar and Pete and everyone else? Thank you. It says, like and subscribe, everyone. I really appreciate it. And let's bring our guest on. It's Pete from Niner Fanatic Podcast. How you doing? Been a guest on your channel. I'm excited to finally have you on my channel.
Absolutely. I'm still grooving out to the intro.
Like, oh, man, you can bob your head, dance, and do whatever you want, man.
but yeah, I appreciate you having me, Bashar. Always give you guys a watch and yeah, love your show and yeah, I haven't had you on my show in a minute, but we got to change that pretty soon.
Oh yeah, hey, whenever, man, whenever you feel like it's right, we can make it happen. I'm always here for you, man. And yeah, I like the way your green screen looks, the mic looks. Since you use your phone as a camera, everything looks clean and sounds good. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big tech geek, so I always appreciate when other content creators put in the work to do that. You know, it just makes things a little nicer. Thank you for the intro. Yeah, the intro was put together by a guy from LA, big time 49er fan. His name is His rapper name is 49er Dude. Had him as a guest on my show multiple times. Great guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him. Awesome. The pleasure of meeting him the night before the Seattle Seahawks game for the home opener at Levi's. Awesome guy, met his family, and yeah, he puts out great music, man. He's just a really passionate 49er fan and talented musician, so I really appreciate him for putting that out for me. And he puts out all different kinds of 49er hip-hop content. He's a great guy in general.
Yeah, you got to release that.
Release what? What do you want me to release?
You got to release that song, whatever that song was.
It's on the I might have it on my well that's the whole song itself. It doesn't necessarily have an extended full version with more lyrics. But I do have it on my channel as a separate video, if that's what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
And it's on his 49er Dude. I can actually post a link to his channel later on in the chat, and he has all his music, and he has that song on his channel as well. But again, shout out to him. He's a great guy and great performer. Sure. Yeah, man. So how's the off-season treating you, man? Just chilling, relaxing?
Man, just trying to put out as much content, just like everybody else. We're trying to find as much content out there as we possibly can. And the 49ers never really disappoint in that regard. But I would say everybody struggled a little bit the last couple of weeks before the combine. It was a little thirsty out there. But now after the combine, it's down and dirty. Everybody is getting their stories out. There's tons of rumors going on. So I'm thirsty to get into it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of things flying around. Every offseason that pretty much gets like that. And the 49ers, for whatever reason they may be, tend to be the most entertaining team in the offseason. As my boy Twin Maker likes to say from Twitter, really good guy.
Sure. Shout out to Twin. Love Twin.
Twin's awesome, man. But let's give guys your let's find out about your background. We want to find out how you initially became a 49er fan, where you grew up, and how did it all come about.
So, 49er fan, so I've been a fan since Tecmo Bowl on Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay, me too. Right around that same time.
the big thing was on that game, there was the unstoppable play from Montana to Rice. You just drop back like 50 steps and and let it go, and it was going to be money every time. So I was just like, I was a little kid. I was like 8 years old. So I just started liking the 49ers. And my dad was at the time, my parents are from, my dad's from Chicago. So he was like a Bears / I'm from LA. So like he kind of adopted the Raiders and the Rams at the time. And but he was like, he couldn't go there with me with the 49ers, but I was just a diehard at that point. And then, that was right when the video game thing hit. It was easy to stay with the team. So
yeah. So when you were growing up, though, which exact part of LA were you in? I was just curious. Like, was it?
Carson, California.
Carson. Okay. I know where that is.
Carson, California. Cal State Dominguez. Shout out Stevenson Village. Shout out Avalon and Sepulveda.
There you go. Yeah, I lived in Orange County for a couple of years. That was one. Carson was the part of Southern California I never really ventured off into. I saw it driving off on the highway here every now and then. That's good to know. Did you ever have a chance to check out the Niners when they played the Rams over in Anaheim back then?
No, because like I said, my dad was like, he wasn't so much. They were in Anaheim. Like we didn't really go to too many football games. Like I think I went to one. Like growing up, we didn't have a ton of money like to be going to sporting events. Most of the time we went, like my dad got free tickets through his work. So like we would go to a lot of Dodger games and like that kind of stuff, and Laker games. But yeah, like I didn't get to go to too many football games. I think I can remember going to one Ram game, but it wasn't against the Niners. But yeah, no, I just always watched them because they're still in California. Like we would get to see a lot of their games. So like I still got to be a fan,
And back then the 49ers were pretty relevant, so you were able to catch them on TV a lot of the times too back then, I'm pretty sure, even though they weren't the local team.
Yep. Yeah, they were on the TV all the time. So yeah, I've always loved 49ers. I mean, Jerry Rice was always my guy. And then Roger Craig. Like when I was little at the time. So
appreciate it, man. Let me see what's up to some people in the chat that just trickled in. We got Dan Castillo, good friend of mine, says, "What's up, Bash?" We got Laura Cat. She says, "Hi there, support you in the show, Bashar. Always appreciate you." Yeah, man, it's pretty cool to hear everybody's story, how they became a 49er fan. Everybody has their own unique tale on how it all started. You said Jerry Rice was your big player that you were watching back in the day. And I usually throw this question out. What was the first 49er jersey that you ever owned?
It was the Jerry Rice jersey because it was the first one that I like. I mean, my parents didn't really buy me a lot of 49er gear until after like I graduated like high school. So it was I saved up and I bought the Jerry Rice jersey 94. It was my the year that we won Super Bowl. I went out and bought a jersey like right before the game. And I had just gotten a job, like my not my first job, I think it was my second job, but had to save up for that. And because at the time, they were a pretty penny. They're still a pretty penny now, but yeah, that was my first one. And then I have a Vernon Davis jersey I got later on down the road. I don't have a ton of I just have those two jerseys. I keep that Jerry Rice jersey in plastic. I don't really bring it out.
Because I had my Garrison Hurst jersey, which was my very first 49er jersey, and it was the old I believe it was the old Reebok ones, and it wasn't stitched, and it was really nice when I first bought it, even though it was printed, but over time it did not last in the washer and dryer. Garrison Hurst
mine isn't
jersey.
stitched.
So I wish I had kept it in better condition or whatever, because it was really nice. I wish I kept it around, but oh well. So do you have any memories of possibly the first game you ever attended? Did you remember the first 49er game you ever attended, and where
I've
was that?
I've never been to a 49er game. Never.
Okay, we gotta make that happen, man. Let's do this, man.
Like I would love to, but I live in Houston now. So I was gonna go to their preseason game against the Texans. It didn't quite work out. But yeah, like I can't wait for them to come out here. Eventually, if this comes big enough, shout out to the channel. Make sure that you give a like and subscribe to the channel. Like if the channel goes well enough, and my wife puts it in the budget, maybe we can go out. We're planning on taking a trip out to California in probably the next year or two. But I got 3 kids, and we got a mortgage to pay, so it's a hefty penny out there in Cali.
Well, we could put up a GoFundMe page for you if you want us to get that started.
However, we got to make it happen. I'm down for it. So, but yeah, no, I would love to come and see them at some point. It's funny because I've seen multiple football games. Like, I've just never seen my own team. Like, it's really weird, but I'm a freak fanatic. Like, I've always been a crazy 49er guy. So
yeah, I don't know when next time we play Houston in Texas, or even the Cowboys. Maybe one day you could catch them in Texas. I actually went to Houston Texans 49ers preseason game once. It was back when Chip Kelly was a coach, and I remember one of the first plays of the game, we had, I forgot who the player was. We had just did this. Oh, I think it was Carlos Hyde. We fumbled like crazy. It was so bad. And then the other team picked it up and just ran it in for an easy touchdown.
Those were not good days. Those were not.
And it was a preseason game at that, and it still sucked. So, and the regular season wasn't any better. Let me see what's up to Steve Supremo. Steve Supremo's in the chat. He's giving me the eye. I don't know if that's an evil eye or a wise eye, or I don't know, it's some type of eye.
Yeah, I see a lot of familiar faces.
Mysterious, man.
See a lot of familiar faces. Raphael, that's my guy. 562.
Yeah, Raphael's here.
Big up Long Beach.
Oh yeah, there you go. 562 area code. I was gonna say, for those of you guys who are not subscribed to the Niner Fanatic podcast, which is Pete's channel, just click the description box of this video. You can go ahead and subscribe to his channel.
I get to it. And it's right there.
Yeah, there you go. And also the link to his Twitter is right there as well. And so we're gonna get going with the other questions. Have you ever this probably be a no, I guess, because since you've never been to a game. So my other question was, have you ever met any 49er players before? But
I actually have.
Oh, you have? Okay.
And because all the players come down to, like, I mean, I grew up in Carson, but I spent a lot of time because I lived in the Compton school district. Like, so my parents kind of sent me
straight out of Compton.
Yeah, dog. It was right across the freeway. So it's really weird. Like, the way my street was right there. If you cut it in half, my side was in the Compton school district. The other side was in the LA Unified. Like, so, but my parents decided to send me to the beach areas because my dad he worked in the beach areas. So I went to school out there, and then I ended up getting jobs out there. I worked grocery for a long time, and but we used to get Shaq would come through the store. Like, we get all kinds of players, but I met Lee Woodall once. I met Ricky Waters once, and there was another really kind of obscure 49er that I met one time, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but yeah, it was in that era. It was back in that era.
So you met Lee Woodall and Ricky Waters. Do you have any cool stories about them in terms of when you met them?
They came through, like, they were because I worked at the grocery store in the beach area, so they were just coming in to load up on liquor. They all did.
Oh, okay.
Like, they were all there to party,
Yes, I didn't meet any Niner players when I lived in Southern California. Remember, I used to work at a car dealership, and one thing I do remember, I've met plenty of Niner players though, but one thing I do remember, I was just pulling up because on our computers at the dealership I worked at, you could pull up like the daily sales and who bought cars for the previous night or previous evening, and I saw Patrick Willis's name pop up. I was like, wait, Patrick Willis bought a car from here? Like, what's going on here? And then what I found out was he never actually showed up, but he did. What happened was his agent, a lot of the agents live in Southern California, and they'll buy cars from whatever dealerships and have them shipped out to wherever that person's location is. So it was pretty funny though, because I'm on my work computer and all of Patrick Willis's personal information was like right there in front of me.
Wow.
It was nuts.
Yeah, that'd have been, that'd have been killer to meet Patrick Willis. I was a huge fan when but I was living in Orange County by that point. I lived out there for like 10 years.
It's a very, very nice area. I actually when I did finally meet Patrick Willis was on the basketball court at the gym I used to go to back in San Jose, and shook his hand, talked to him for a minute. He didn't want to take a picture though, because he said, if we took a picture, then everybody else would take a picture. And I totally respected that, but he was really nice in general. Let me see what's up to Rick Diaz. Rick Diaz is here. Says, what's up, gentlemen in the panel? Radius from Chicago to hire 49er fans. I'm not sure what he means by that, but Shout out to all the faces across, even though the season's over. Oh yeah, shout out to all the 49er fans, all the diehards out there, and new face to the chat. Welcome to the chat. If you're not subscribed to this channel, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to Pete from the Niner Fanatic podcast, hit up the description box of this video. It has a link to his channel. But the cool chat name right here. It says Chat GPT. Not sure what that stands for. But it says Vato. I said he's asking if Jamie G's going to the Raiders. They're throwing that out there. It may happen. We'll get into all that stuff a little bit later. But so growing up at chat, I got a couple other personal questions, and then we'll dive right into Niner talk. We're gonna talk about free agency, what's going on in the draft. We're gonna do a mock draft, all that. But what were your hip hop? Because we were talking about hip hop earlier with the whole intro that I have for my show. Who were your hip hop influences growing up?
Wu-Tang forever.
Oh, you're a Wu-Tang guy. Okay. When it comes to Wu-Tang, for me, it's all about Old Dirty Bastard. The Old Dirty Bastard was my guy. Rest in peace.
Yeah, no, I was in the beginning, I was a huge Method Man guy. And then as it kept going on, then I became more of a Ghostface guy. But I got a lot of love for Master Killer, who nobody seems to know, but he had
I barely remember his name.
Two great albums that got no airplay at all, even in New York. So it's but yeah, hip hop is my thing. Like I did a lot of I listened to a lot of underground, and I was more of a boom bap, like backpacker type. Like I did a lot of digging for CDs back in the day. I'm old. I'm like 45, so it was back in the day when you had to hold that CD in your hand and make tapes off the radio.
I did all that back in the day. I did all that. And for those that don't know, the name of the channel, 49er Minded, it's originated from Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One. He had a song called Criminal Minded. So little history, little background for you there. And I love old school hip hop. I'm not really, no knock on whoever's out now, but it's just not my thing. It's just not, it doesn't
speak to us. It doesn't speak to us. It's not meant to. That's the way hip hop is supposed to be. It speaks to that generation. So
exactly. But for me though, as long as there's a catchy beat, now I'm there. But the beat has to be catchy. That's all. Lyrics are kind of secondary for me, to be honest with you. All right. Before we get into football talk, we got to hit up a little segment, which I call pizza time. So right now it's pizza time because nothing goes together better than football than pizza. So so we got all different kinds of pizza spots out there. We got your chains, got your mom and pop joints. We got places that serve Chicago deep dish style, your typical chain style. And you can find some mom and pop joints. So like California type pizzas usually got thicker crust, but then you got the good old New York slices that are a bit thinner and bigger slices that are a bit crispier. Like, what's your favorite style of pizza? And do you have a go-to pizza spot out where you live?
So in Cali, like my favorite pizza joint was in this little town called San Pedro. It was called Dominic's. That was my spot. Like a buddy of mine worked there, and we used to be in and out of that place all the time. That was my spot. It was a nice little hole in the wall. You can it's probably still open. And then, but as far as a style of pizza, my dad's from Chicago. We used to go back to, I still from time to time go back to Chicago to see family, and I love Chicago deep dish. I love it. If you get the right kind, it is delicious.
It is very delicious. So one thing I like about Chicago deep dish pizza is usually if you go to the right place, the quality of the cheese they use, you get a lot of thick cheese. You pull that slice up, it has that cheese pool that stretches out from the slice, and the inner doughy part is usually really good if you go to the right place. Only some places the crust is a little too rough for me with the dough, but the interior dough of the Chicago style pizza is usually where it's at. So we got chat GPT Vato in the house. He's saying, I used to play Marky Mark at the Funky Batch. No cap. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he said, my kids like Chuck E. Cheese pizza. It tastes like cardboard.
Oh man. You know what? Chuck E. Cheese used to be good back in the 80s.
Back when I was a kid, I remember it being good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe we just didn't know any better. But but yeah, it was I loved it. And we had another spot out in Cali that was like a knockoff of Chuck E. Cheese called
Showbiz. Showbiz was a shit.
Showbiz was
they were head-to-head competitors.
Yeah.
So one of the guys who started Chuck E. Cheese branched off and started Showbiz.
Is that what happened? Okay.
Yeah. Showbiz was shit, dude.
I thought they were better than Chuck E. Cheese. Like, and I know my parents gave me a birthday party there one time, and man,
I've had a few parties at Showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese, both. Yeah, we got Corey Davis in the building.
Big Corey.
Pete. And we just getting it. We just got done with the pizza time talk, and I'm gonna try to create a little graphic or a little intro. And gotta add some more spice to the show and for my little segments that we do. But hey, man, it's always good to talk a little personal stuff. You know, everybody's got their own experiences growing up as 49er fans, and I always like to throw in every now and then a little hip hop talk or a little pizza talk. But we got plenty of 49er talk to talk about. If you guys just tuned in, remember Pete's channel is 90 for 90 podcast. It's on the description box of this video. You can click on his Twitter, and as well, it has a link for it. But yeah, man, I mean, we got all kinds of things to talk about. I mean, I've seen everybody's talking about the quarterback position. You know, Brock Purdy's supposed to have his surgery on Friday, and we still don't know what exact type of surgery it is. Actually, supposedly, if the doctor goes in there and he sees whatever he sees and it doesn't look right, it may have to be Tommy John surgery. Yeah. In any case, I wish the best for Brock. You know, the fastest recovery possible, the quickest road ahead, whatever it may be. That, you know, prayers out to him and his surgery. You know, we've dealt with tons of injuries with these players, and just how it is with football. It's a violent sport, but now, you know, Trey Lance looks like he's starting to throw again, and names are being thrown around. And what's your whole take on all these shenanigans going on with the quarterback position this offseason?
So here's what it is. Like, I mean, Lynch tried to tell us. He said he told us that, you know, every doctor is gonna put that disclaimer out there that we won't really know until they get in, but they're fully expecting it to be not the Tommy John. They're fully expecting it to be just a normal 6-month procedure. And now there's a lot of people talking out there about, you know, why they would delay the surgery. They talked about the inflammation, that kind of stuff, but there's a conspiracy theory out there that I heard the last couple of days saying that, you know, maybe they were delaying it so that Brock wouldn't be able to come back until later to give Trey Lance some extra time to win back the job, or it was to bring in another vet like maybe Tom Brady. And I think that all of it's a little far-fetched. I think that it is what it is. The 49ers have got to be the unluckiest team on the planet with this regarding injuries. And it just comes down to Brock. I really believe that Brock's there was inflammation in his elbow. They couldn't get it done till right now. I think it's fortunate for Trey Lance that he's going to get a chance to take the reins of this job. I think that he's going to have to play games, because the way they're talking about Brock, it's almost like Lance has to prove himself more so. I mean, because we've already seen it from Brock, but I would venture to say that if they're smart, they would go all in on Lance, in my opinion, just because you gave up so much. Not just that, he gives you the best. If you use him the same way that you use Brock and use Jimmy, like that's an honest comparison. I don't feel like right now there's an honest comparison to the two. And regardless of whether he could do the same things as them or not, you have to give him a chance to do that in that game plan. Like, because otherwise we're never going to know what Lance could have been. But I think that Lance is going to get a chance to show that. I think that they've realized at this point that he's not Lamar Jackson. And I'm sure we're going to get to that later. But I'm sure that they know that he's not Lamar Jackson at this point, and that maybe that he's going to get a majority of his rushing yards from running out of the pocket, like running away from pressure. So that's kind of how I feel about and I think that they're going to bring in a vet, but I think it's going to be of the Jacoby Brissett, Matt Ryan, Heineke type, not Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'm the only reason why I'm against. Well, the main reasons why I'm against Matt Ryan. Obviously, he's old, but not saying that not saying that, you know, a veteran quarterback or an older quarterback wouldn't be good. But it's just with Matt Ryan in general, he was never one to move around the pocket and now he's even older, he's even slower. So it's just not my thing. And we saw how many times that sure our offensive line doesn't maybe fifth best in the league in terms of not giving up sacks, but at the same time, looked like Brock Purdy was running around a whole lot too to avoid those sacks. So sure, on paper a sack may not be registered, but the sure as hell were a whole lot of pressures. So so I definitely want to. I mean, for me, I'd rather have like a younger, more up and coming type quarterback. Doesn't necessarily have to. I'm talking like a guy like freaking Minshew, or I mean, even if they went cheapo and went Jarrett Stidham, it wouldn't really be that bad to me. But a lot of people seem to want that one quarterback that has a whole lot of experience and proven he's won games, and some people want to go the extra mile. Certain Niner fans were wanting Derek Carr, for example, like guys like that, and I didn't want to go that route where we don't have the money to invest in the position, is how I look at it. I just don't. I mean, the whole idea of having two young up and coming quarterbacks with rookie contracts, just it sits well with me. And sure, you could bring in another guy, just as long as the guy's much better than Josh Johnson. I'm perfectly fine with it. Josh Johnson to me was just a terrible. Well, yeah, whoa. I mean, the list of players that are available by default, they should be much better than what we had in terms of a Josh Johnson. And again, the third quarterback doesn't have to be a superstar. What quarterback, in terms of a lot of the names mentioned out there, how many of those guys are going to actually walk into the situation and say, hey, oh, sure, I'm perfecly fine with the idea of me most likely being the third quarterback in the league. I just don't really see that happening with a lot of the names floating around. Maybe Matt Ryan's okay with it, but I'm not even sure how Matt Ryan sits with Shanahan these days either. I think there are kind of rumors about them having a fallout in Atlanta. I'm not sure. Maybe you might know more about that than I do, but
I never heard that. I know that the 49ers were considering. I know that there was a story out there the other day that they were considering Matt Ryan. I don't think that they're bringing in Matt Ryan with the expectation that he's going to play. Like, I don't think any of these guys they're going to bring in with the expectation that they're going to play. I think that it's more so just what you just said, that any of them would be better than Josh Johnson. And I think that's the most important thing. But I think the Matt Ryan aspect is, and big up to Croc and Peacock Locked On, like for bringing it up, that who has run this offense any better than Matt Ryan? Like he's so far he's the standard in this offense. So like it's who better to teach Trey and Brock like the ins and outs of this offense more so than Matt Ryan. I think that he could be huge for Trey. I mean, he's they've already got Greasy in there, who's done a phenomenal job with the quarterback room. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I like the Matt Ryan idea, and then I like Heineke too. I think he's a kind of a fiery guy. I don't think that they're going to bring some guy in that people are even thinking about asking for them to take him out for. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be, they don't want they don't need any more controversy. So that's kind of
nothing new to the 49er fan base with quarterback controversies. That's for sure.
It's just crazy. Anybody that they bring in and anybody that completes a few passes, we're like, oh, put him in, take Jimmy out. Like, but we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, well, there's plenty of
shall not be named anymore.
There's plenty of Niner fans on Twitter who keep thinking that we're going to bring Jimmy back, and they don't believe the rumors, and they want us to bring Jimmy back. And God bless those people out there. But I don't know. I think they're a little bit out of touch with reality.
Lynch
I must say.
Lynch told y'all that he's like, no, that ship has sailed. Like it's time. He told
Lynch
you guys
and Shanny told everybody that. Yeah,
I mean, real quick too. They asked that. I mean, they barely got the question out of their mouth, and like, nope, not gonna do it.
It sounds like he's going to the Raiders. That's what the rumor is. I mean, and even before that rumor came out, I was just thinking that I could probably see him going to the Raiders, because I knew that the Raiders were going to part ways with Derek Carr, and the McDaniels is there, and they had a familiarity with both of them being at the Patriots. So you never know. What up, John V from the Locker Room Rant? He is here. Salute to my bro. He's been on plenty of post-game shows with me. One of my best friends on here, and got plenty of excellent, great, just people in general in the 49er content creator community that I can call friends. You're one of them, obviously. And
big up to the Locker Room Rant. Give them a subscribe.
Oh yeah, I love the Locker Room Rant. Yeah. What up, David McNiner? I call him MC Niner. He says,
"Oh, James Richard, good too."
Yeah, James Richard Garoppolo can go anywhere but here. Oh yeah. And hey, man, he you know what? He's gonna obviously want his money we're not the team that has the money to give to him. So sure, it's a better situation for him. Leave, get your money elsewhere and see what you can do.
Don't even bring up the Bashar. Don't even bring up the money. It's not about the money. Like, he's just got to go. Like,
no, I've been wanting him out for the longest time. I'm just trying to be a nice guy about this right now.
You.
But my whole thing is, I'll as me as a football fan, as a person who's been watching football for how many years, I'll be shocked if this whole idea of Jimmy G wins games translates to other teams in terms of him going to a team that doesn't have a top 5 defense. I just don't see it. Sure, if he went to the Raiders, they'd be pretty loaded offensively. So that would definitely help him on the offensive side of the ball. But I wouldn't see him, especially on the Raiders. The Raiders were putting up points with Derek Carr, and they still struggled because their defense couldn't get it done. And another team that he goes to, there's a very few teams out there that are quarterback needy that he could go to, where to me that I'd see him translating with all these wins. But let me see what's up to some more people that just hopped in. We got Bryant Culp, Mr. Batman of the 49er Empire. Says, what's up, Bashar and Pete? We got the Polo. What's up, Polo? Long time no see. Says, Niner fans may be the only fan base to say Brock Purdy is better than Lamar Jackson. I'm tired. I did see that tweet from, I don't want to say the guy's name. I don't even know who the guy is. I've seen his name float around a couple times on Twitter. There's a lot of, you know what? Twitter and freedom of speech, and people can just say whatever they want, and not everybody who says whatever they want really knows what they're talking about at the end of the day. That's how I look at it.
I've gotten really good over that, because when I first started Twitter, I was terrible. I was in everybody. Anybody said anything that I thought was questionable, I'm in their mentions. And I've gotten really good now about just give it a hoosah, and just keep scrolling. Like, when I see that nonsense, but
there was a whole lot of chatter about the whole Jimmy G Trey Lance thing at one point, and I was emotionally invested into it big time. And I myself have been guilty of diving into those Twitter battles and those chat battles and whatever. And I told myself, like, in this offseason, I'm going to stay out of that stuff completely.
It's pointless.
Because for me, it's like, I love Trey Lance. I would love for Trey Lance, for his potential to realize and him look like, poor man's Patrick Mahomes, so to speak. And it would be all fine and dandy for that to happen. But if things didn't pan out and Brock Purdy looked the way he did last season for us, and he's at the tops of the league, a quarterback rating, and we're winning hella games and completely in contention, and Brock Purdy proves he could be the franchise guy, I'm perfectly fine with that. The only thing that scared me about Brock Purdy is, the Nick Foles effect. If he was to just, he looked good for that short little span, and then he comes back and just looks kind of average. And that was the whole thing in camp, because if they're both going to be healthy in camp, I was like, okay, well, let's have these two guys battle it out. Therefore, iron sharpens iron. Trey Lance will completely be challenged by Brock Purdy, and vice versa. And I thought that would be the best thing. And who knows, that may eventually happen. And, at the end of the day, the cream will rise to the top. That's how I look at it.
Oh, for sure. Like, I look at it as Trey Lance, but from a measurable standpoint, every 49er fan should want him to be the guy, because he's got all the measurables. And if they hit on him, I mean, he's going to be the guy. He can be the guy for the foreseeable future. But with Brock, I think that people need to give woe back on Brock a little bit. Brock did an outstanding job for 7 games, but think about this. Everybody has to think about this for a second, because it was 7 games, right? 7 games, and he had an oblique injury that should have kept him out. And then he got a UCL injury, which is going to put him out for 6 months. If we take it back to the first game of the season, he wouldn't have made the season. So do we really want to? He's a little guy. He's really a little guy. And I'm not so, and I shouldn't say I'm not sold. I think he's a great, he runs Shanny's offense outstanding. But from a health standpoint, I don't think it's all on Shanny. I think some of it is just that he's a little guy. He's a little guy. He's tiny. And he's going to get hit. He's going to get hurt at some point. So I know that that's not a popular opinion about Brock Purdy, but I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great kid. And he's a perfect. He's obviously a perfect backup. But for them to give him the reins and to go all in on Brock Purdy when you have a Ferrari that hasn't even been tested yet still in the garage, I feel like we want to see the Ferrari and we want to see how fast that thing can go.
We invested way too much in that Ferrari too, but
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me see what's up to E Kim right here. He's here. What's up, man? Very well known caller from the Grant Cohn show. He's called on here a few times. Good to have him around. And I did mention Baker Mayfield, so I put him on the thumbnail along with Brock Purdy and with Trey Lance. And I was gonna say oh wait, I didn't even mention this guy. And his name has been thrown around in the pot recently among the other names that have been thrown around the pot. Any thoughts on him possibly being within the mix of a possibly QB3 or QB2 situation, depending on how long it takes for Brock to come back?
I heard the whole Baker Mayfield thing. And honestly, Bashar, do you want to see Baker Mayfield? I don't.
I like his abilities, though. I do like his physical abilities. No. I like. So I mean, I wouldn't be too mad. I mean, I take, for example, we're coming from what we had with, like we mentioned earlier, Josh Johnson. Sure. I mean, had we had Baker Mayfield in the playoffs, I've been way more confident over Josh Johnson. I mean,
that's true, but I mean, he would have been. Does Baker Mayfield want to come in as a third stringer? I don't think that he does.
I don't think he's supposed to be the first pick overall.
Yeah, I think he's gonna want another shot at being the guy somewhere, because I don't know what team really wants that guy. I just don't think he fits in the culture with the 49ers. That's my personal opinion. I think he's short, and I think that he's not. He doesn't make good decisions. I know he had the one good game for the Rams, but then the next game he looked like Baker Mayfield. So it's I just think that he's just why are we going to invest $7 to $8 million on that guy?
Chris Polo says all this QB talk from us last few weeks. Watch him bring back Nate Sudfeld. Man, please,
for sure.
Please
don't think that can't happen.
Was he on a little 1 year deal with the Detroit Lions? I know that Detroit had picked him up.
Yeah, no, I know that I think they just brought him in for the 1 year. I think he's probably going to be available again, but I think that there's a lot of guys out there. I know. I mean, you have your Baker Mayfields. I look at a guy like Sam Darnold, that could be a third.
Yeah,
that's a guy that realistically
could
be a third rounder, a third string guy, and and would have no problem with it at this point. So
and you mentioned third rounder. I mean, we still may possibly draft a third QB.
I don't. In my opinion, I don't see that. They're probably going to draft a guy. I think they'll probably draft him late. But I think that they're mainly going to bring in the veteran, just because it's really just about teaching up the two young guys that they got in the building now. I don't know if they want to go with another young guy to go on top of the two young guys that they got. I think that they're going to probably draft another camp body the way I look at it.
And they may not even draft one. They may just right when the draft's over, do an undrafted one.
They got so many seventh rounders though. I think that they're just bring one of them.
They could, yeah. and if you still have time, we can do a mock draft on the show. I hope you're
absolutely.
Okay with that. Okay.
I'm all about it.
We were going to get into kicker talk right before that, actually, and Brian Culp reminded me, and because Gold looks like he's going to be on the way out. I don't know if we're not tagging him, obviously, because we're not tagging anybody. So It sounds like Gold's not coming back. But if you were the GM, would you bring him back, or what route would you go?
I would have brought him back, because you're in a Super Bowl window right now. The last thing that the 49ers need is to be in a clutch situation, games tied in the NFC Championship game, and it's in the snow or whatever the case is, and now we've got a rookie kicker out there. It really scares me to death. I'll be honest with you, because that those games in the playoffs are going to come down to kicks, and I'm
not too scared though, because I just love the direction that the Shanahan offense is going in.
Yeah,
the whole idea of getting touchdowns and not resorting to field goals. But then again, we have been playing those situations where we punted away, we'll cross the 50-yard line.
Yeah,
and then we'll just punt the ball away. We just crossed the 50-yard line 2 minutes ago. What do we punt? What are we punting for? Oh, because our kicker can't make field goals from this distance, or maybe we should just be going for it on fourth down a bit more. And hopefully we see more aggressiveness in the offense. We saw a little glimpse of that. Hope maybe we're in the mix now where we finally get a kicker that can hit some longer field goals. People are throwing that name around, Jake Moody. I see Jake Moody's. Yeah. See, the thing is, when I first heard about Jake Moody, okay, not trying to knock on that guy, but there's this huge aura around his name that I think is overhyped. Like, because I kept hearing this guy boots 60-yarders like it's nothing, and I was like, oh shit, I got excited. Let me look this guy up. And I'm looking him up. I'm like, the longest field goal he has is 59 yards. Now that's fine. That's long, but I mean, it's not like he's the guy from the Ravens. Who's the Ravens kicker? What's his name?
Tucker?
That guy, Tucker was kicked the fucking 80-yard field goal in practice. He's not on that level. They're acting like this guy's the most amazing god of kickers, and we have to bow down to his feet if we don't get him. And I'm thinking there could be another rookie kicker that we could possibly get that could possibly be better than him. I mean, you never know. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if he's the end all be all about kickers is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I just I would rather not have a rookie. If at all possible, if they can bring in a vet, then and maybe you bring in both. Maybe you bring in a vet and Moody or whoever, and see who wins the job in camp. I could see that.
Hey, competition's always good, and yeah, Justin Tucker was the guy I want to mention. There you go. Yeah. What up, Snap Man? What's up, bro? Good to have you here, man. Long time no see. My buddy from Twitter. And we had a question about the D lineman, and then after that, we're going to go into the mock draft. So, Don V says Frank Clark. That name's been floating around a lot because Bosa definitely needs some help. We got Charles Omenihu and Samson Mibukam in the mix. I don't know how many of our own guys we're going to retain and bring back. That's a mystery to me. Mm-hmm. Obviously, by default, we're pretty much saying the obvious thing is there's better talent out there that we can get to replace those guys. Clark Floyd's another one who's been released by the Rams. I believe Hargrave's another one. If you have another name in mind, Justin
Khalil Mack,
perhaps.
Khalil Mack is supposed to be out there. There's a couple of guys that I've been looking at the free agency. There's a few guys in free agency that would be possible. Andrew Billings is a guy from the Raiders for the defensive tackle position, that young. And then they got another guy, Clellan Farrell. Yeah,
coming out of Clemson. He was a big time guy, and I thought he was going to be so good.
Super talented. But what happens with everybody that goes to the Raiders? Who did we get Arden Key from? The Raiders. I just don't have faith in their coaching staff, and I think that you can bring in some of those talented guys like we got with Amenahu, like we did with Arden Key, and you get them in front of Kasarik and let him do his magic with them. They don't have a Kasarik
on their coaching staff.
No,
and nobody does. They got pretty lucky. They got pretty lucky with the Max Crosby pick too, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
And great point, John V. I heard Matt Ariza is supposedly waiting in the wings and looking to be picked up from another team because basically John V says, y'all remember Matt Ariza? That dude was accused of a gang rape from the Bills. Apparently he's been acquitted of those accusations and charges. Now that guy, he's a punter, not a kicker, but coming out of college, they labeled the punt god. And when you watch his film, you're like, whoa, this guy is incredible. I've never seen a punter look like this. And I was like, damn, the Bills got him. So who knows? I don't know if we look to get him. I mean, I'm a Wisnowski guy, but then again, if Matt Ariza was available, I could. They already
paid a Wisnowski now. So.
Oh, that's right. Right. I got 99 problems, but a Mitch ain't one.
Yeah.
Another hip hop reference. Yeah. All right. So on that note, we should get into the mock draft. All kinds of names have been floating around in free agency, and I think that with all these restructures, we're like the top 3 or top 5 team in the league with most with a salary cap. In terms of money freed up, I could be wrong about that. There was that new report that came out about that. So it looks like we're not as bad as I thought we'd be going into free agency. What up, No Border Sports? Ryan from No Border Sports is here. What up? And
what's going on, Ryan?
John V says, I forgot he was a punter. Yeah, I thought you knew that already. Okay. Well, hey, there you go. Matt Ariza is definitely a punter.
The rumor was that at the time that he could do both.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's got crazy strength in his leg, man.
Yeah, that was the big thing on Matt Ariza was they were speculating that he could do both.
I thought Wisnowski would have been somebody that could at least do kickoffs for us. Didn't we have him doing kickoffs at one point?
They tried it. It didn't work out.
Yeah. You think a guy with all that athleticism and all that strength in his leg would be able to do it. And, it didn't pan out. That's weak, in my opinion. So let's get started with this mock drafting. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in just a moment. And anything else you want to touch on before we get into the mock draft there?
There was another guy in free agent. I know this isn't the defensive line, but the safety and
Jesse Bates is coming out.
Jesse Bates, but there's another guy that I know. The 49ers are notorious for taking those guys that not necessarily like their talent. They have talent, but they didn't necessarily work out with their other team. Well, I like a guy named, and I've mentioned him on my show since the season ended, because I saw that he was going to be a free agent. And I know that Jesse mentioned him the other day on Twitter, but Nazir Adderley, from the Chargers.
I know that name very well, yeah.
And he's another guy that I think that they could get in for cheaper. And with Steve Wilkes now being our defensive coordinator and having his specialty being the secondary, I think that might be. I think that that's a guy that you could bring in on the cheap, and if you're not choose not to draft somebody, it just depends. I think we'll know exactly what they're gonna go after in the draft after free agency. So
exactly, free agency will definitely play a part in who we draft and who we don't draft. I totally agree with that. And the safety question is definitely a question mark, because. That the guy that we had, why his name totally slipped my mind. The guy that we got from the Texans, that one safety that said supposedly he might come back. I know Jimmy Ward doesn't seem like Jimmy Ward's coming back.
Tashawn Gibson.
Yeah, Tashawn Gibson.
Yeah,
I'd like him back, but then again, it would be nice to have some younger blood. And if we got a guy like Bates or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's a complete thumper, and Bates is better in coverage, I get that. That'd be nicer. Who knows? We keep him Gibson and we draft somebody, I'd be okay with that too. What up, Joey Mahoney? How you doing? Yeah, I said, what's up, Bash? But right now we're pretty much gonna hop into the mock draft because there's all different types of needs and things that we have going on in the free agency, and obviously offensive line might be one of them. I hope we address offensive line in the draft.
They better.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure they have that in mind. I'm all about and Shanahan's a trench heavy guy, so which is fine, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So we're gonna go ahead and share my screen really quick. And set up this mock draft where you'll see us to the side basically and select the 49ers. We're not going to do any trades or anything like that. And we're just going to enter the draft and get going. So here we go. And if there's anything that you need me to see in terms of looking up what players are available and whatever positions, I'll be more than happy to do that for you. If you need me to zoom in on particular names, I can do that for you. But right now we're going to get going on the mock draft. Here we go. So
got you.
The other teams are picking right now, and here we go. Takes a little while to set up, but if anybody else is in the chat, another name I didn't mention about free agency about defensive ends was Zadarius Smith. That's a guy that I'd love to get if we do get him in free agency. And there's all different kinds of other names out there. So that should be an
Bud
upgrade.
Dupree out there.
There you go. Yep.
There's a whole there's so many, and there's going to be more. The closer we get to free agency, closer, and especially when we get close to the draft. So
okay. So the 49ers are picking with the 99th pick in the third round. And I don't know if you see the name. Can you see the names properly of who's available at the top of the list?
I see everything.
Okay. And if you want me to scroll down or look up any particular positions that people are available, I'll be more than happy to do that for you. And then if you want me to scroll down, I can do that for you.
I would scroll down a little bit and see what is
Isaiah McGuire.
You got Isaiah. I was going to say Isaiah McGuire is a guy that we look at. They need. They're probably. KJ Henry is an interesting prospect, but I don't. I think he's a little bit light to be an edge for the 49ers. Luke Schoonmaker is a really intriguing tight end, not just because I'm a Michigan fan, but just because I think he's a really good blocker, and he sounds, his scouting report kind of sounds a lot like Kittle did when it come out. Really good blocker. Didn't get a lot of production in college because the Wolverines don't pass the ball. So it's that's a guy that I think is going to be good for somebody. I don't know that the 49ers would go with their first pick of the draft with the tight end, but that's a guy to keep in.
If Laporta is available, you think they would? Laporta? the tight end.
Like he's probably they would have to trade up.
You know what's funny? Now that I mentioned it, it's because usually when I do these mock drafts at the very top with the 99th pick, usually he's available. But I noticed that PFF has been updating their algorithm and who's available and who's not. So it looks like they finally came to the realization that Laporta is not going to be available at the 99th pick. But if you need me to pull up and search what positions are available, if you still need time on this pick, we can go ahead and give you some more time.
I would like to see who is at the safety spot. Like,
okay, sure. We can do that. Pull up the safeties, no problem. So safeties are pulled up. We got J.L. Skinner from Boise State, Ronnie Hickman from Ohio State, Jair Brown of Penn State.
Brandon Joseph fell all the way to 164.
Yeah. And this guy Trey Dean, I seen linger around like in the 7th round whenever I do these mock drafts. So I wouldn't go safety early in this draft, unless it's the guy that you really covet.
I mean, Joseph I think he's a pretty good prospect. But let's look at we know tackle's not going to be there.
Let's see who's available at tackle. Just to give you an idea what's going on at tackle.
For sure.
Really quick. Tyler Steens is the best guy available right now from Alabama. I've reached a few times on these mock drafts. Yeah, I've reached a few times on these mock drafts, man, where I see the tackle that I want, and that's who I get.
So what about the defensive tackle?
DTs. Let's see. Who do we got available? Oops, that's OT. Sorry. It'll be probably D-line right there. Let me take off the offensive tackle thing really quick. Just a second. Under D-line. So Moro Ojomo is a big name that pops out. Kobe Turner, Jacqueline Roy. I believe that's how you say his last name, Roy. Keandre Coburn from Texas.
I would say because we pretty much got 3 picks, like
exactly in a row, pretty much.
I'd want to lock up Tyler Steen.
Yeah, I've reached a few times for tackles. I'm just very keen on getting a tackle in these mock drafts. So go ahead, man. Tyler Steen is the pick, the 99th pick overall for the San Francisco 49ers, tackle out of Alabama, big boy. And who do you got going next with the 101 pick, 101st pick?
I would take Zach Pickens.
Zach Pickens. Okay, where's he at? Is he?
He was like 120 something, but but the problem is that we don't pick again until 157 after 102.
I don't think Pickens is available. What position is he?
Zach Pickens. He's a defensive tackle.
Oh, I don't think he was available. Let me see. Let me double check really quick. So, I don't see Pickens on here, dude.
Oh, somebody took him.
Yeah, Moro Ojomo is the next guy. Kobe Turner, Jacqueline Roy.
Okay,
yeah.
So since they took him, then go back to the. Then I'm taking Schumacher.
Okay, the tight end. He's available. Luke Schumacher. There you go, from Michigan. There you go. All right, so with the 101st pick, you got Luke Schumacher from Michigan.
I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you feel about it, but I want a center. I've been wanting a center. And Michigan has another Michigan guy, like Olawatimi. I don't want to butcher his name.
Olawatimi. Yes. I've seen him available. He's definitely available. If you want to get him, he's there for the taking.
Let's go. Let's
go. All right. So you went heavy in the trenches. I like that. I love it, actually. I played offensive lineman in high school, so I know how important that is. We have Jake Brendel, who was an overachiever, you could say, a smaller guy, and he played well for his position, considering his lack of size. But we need something better.
And I know that they want Nick Zakelj. Supposedly, they're grooming him to be the guy. And for all we know, he's a world beater, just like Aaron Banks. Who knows? But I thought they should have drafted a guy last year, but.
All right. I agree. So Moro Ojomo, defensive lineman from Texas, is still available. Kobe Turner, Wake Forest is available.
He is undersized also.
We got some edges. Yasser Abdullah, Viliami Fahoko from San Jose State.
Yeah, keep going.
Zach Kuntz is available.
Keep going.
We got, let's see.
Keep going.
Any name in particular you were looking for? Jacob Slade from Michigan State, D lineman.
I would go with, let's see, we're at 157. Go ahead and get Starling Thomas.
Okay. There you go. Cornerback, Starling Thomas. And we are at the pick 166. Who are you looking to get?
So now Now I'm kind of, let's see, we're at 166. Keep going down because we've got a center. We've got what do we need? We still need an edge, and we still need. Let's see. We still need a big guy. I have a big guy that always ends up being later on in the draft. But
a big D tackle, that is.
Yeah, big D tackle. And he's really, I think he's really good. The more I looked at it, Nesta, it's another one of those names that I don't want to butcher.
Oh, okay. I don't think he's available. I don't see his name on here.
He's all the way down.
Oh, there he is. Jade Silvera. Okay, how big is this dude? Let's see if it's listed on here. First look, 6'2", 306.
Yeah, okay. He's 6'2", 306, but he kind of looks like he's a little taller. He's a little bigger than DJ Jones, but you would have to read the scouting report and like see some of his film. He gets really, even though he's 6'2", he gets really low to the ground.
Nice.
And he kind of just darts through the line. Like he's really good against the run. He needs to develop his pass rushing, but I mean, I would take just a two-down guy that could start off as a rundown guy. But I'm looking at.
You want me to click? I'm still on the D tackle list. You want me to click away from that?
Yeah, click
best
away
available.
From that. So now we're gonna go best available. I would say I don't like Cropper. Let's no.
What position do you have in mind?
I don't really like any of these guys. Like they're just not on my radar.
He's a center. We already took a center. Yeah,
like
Stetson Bennett for those who want to draft a quarterback.
Yeah. Do people really want to? I mean, we could go linebacker.
We could
because I'm looking at Cam Jones. Cam Jones is a monster. I just wonder what
Cam Jones is available. Yep.
Yeah, I just wonder how much playing time he would get.
6'3", 228. If he's good enough, he can pick up where Aziz left off.
Yeah, he is he's almost like identical to Alshire.
Okay.
I mean, I'm down to go Cam Jones.
All right, so we'll get Cam Jones. Let's do it. So Cam Jones from Indiana, linebacker, has been the selection at 166. Now we're at 173. And who are you looking to pick up here?
Okay. You got Aiden O'Connell, which I'm higher on Aiden O'Connell than I am Stetson Bennett.
Okay.
But I'd want to. Oh, where's our kicker? Look at the.
Okay. You want to jump into kickers right away? Okay, all right, I got you. Let's see if everybody's hero Jake Moody's on there. He's available.
He's going to be later.
He shows up in the 7th round when I do these mock drafts. And people got mad at me when I did my mock draft and put it on Twitter. One guy was like, "Oh, Jake Moody's going to be picked in this 5th round. Why did you pick it?" Well, he was available in the 7th round when I got him. So you're telling me
that's PFF is saying that he's not worth it. So get mad at PFF.
I mean, I go by value. I mean, I'm going to get all these value players at previous positions. I'm not going to draft a kicker over positions over guys who are actually real football players. This is not how I think when it comes to football. I'm all about football players first and kickers last.
Let's look at wide receiver.
Let's look at wide receiver. Let's do this. Who is available in the wide receiver market? We have Bryce Ford Wheaton, who I'm not familiar with. Ronnie Bell. You're a Michigan guy. You should probably know who he is.
Ronnie Bell. He's a little slow.
It's dwindled down too.
There's only a couple of guys. Demario Davis. Is he out there? I know he's probably
Demario Douglas. You mean?
That's right? What I meant. Yeah, Demario Douglas.
There he is.
So he's later. All these guys are later.
There's a guy named Jadakiss Bonds. That's a funny name. The rapper. They name after the rapper.
I'm not doing that. I've heard Jake Bobo is actually pretty decent, but we're at 173 right now. So
correct, and best available. They got some running back Dwayne McBride, Jacorian Bennett. If you want to go corner, Vihami Fehoko. If I'm saying that properly,
I've heard good things about Fehoko.
I have to.
Let's go.
You can never get enough good pass rushers. That's how I look at it, man.
I mean, value.
So local kid,
value. They had him rated at 115.
Yep, he's dropped a bit. So
So
I definitely take that. That spot in the draft, you can't go wrong. So we're heading down to the 216th pick of the NFL draft. 49ers are on the clock, and we got some quarterback Aiden O'Connell at the top of the list. We got Eric Gray, running back, another quarterback, Clayton Tune, Will Mallory, tight end from the University of Miami, another edge, Dylan Horton, Asim Richards at tackle, North Carolina. That's where I'd go because I like to stack up on offensive linemen, but that's just me personally if I was picking. There's another edge available. To the
I would take Eric Gray.
Eric Gray, okay. So where we Eric Gray, halfback from Oklahoma. What do you like about him?
I like him. He was a steady guy, 5'10", 211. Like I mean, he was a workhorse for them. And he has, if I remember correctly about him, he has some work to do as far as pass protection, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's really good at finding holes. So like the question on him is breakaway speed and that kind of stuff. But I mean, picking somebody at this spot in the draft, like I kind of like that pick.
Just want to say what's up to a really good friend of mine's here. Got excited about it. Coming in late. He says 49er Tone. Coming in late, but I'll be listening at work. Sorry to cut you off. I got excited to see what's up to my boy Tone.
No worries.
I was expecting to see him on here. I had this question for you about running backs because I was going to ask you this before we started the mock draft and I forgot about it. But say if there's any running backs that you covet, I don't know if you have your eye on certain running backs that you may think that we may not be able to get. But if that player was available in round 3, would you be like, "Oh, I drafted him in round 3"?
Absolutely
okay,
not.
So you want to get away from drafting any running back in round 3 just because we've had bad luck.
I would have never done that. Like I am at the school of thought that the 49ers don't need to draft high for a running back. Like I've never thought they did. I didn't agree with the Trey Sermon pick. I didn't agree with the TDP pick. And I mean, I feel like you can get that value somewhere elsewhere. So it's you can see that they get guys off the street. They bring guys off the street and get undrafted free agent. They do better with undrafted free agents and 6th rounders than they do with those higher picks. So
even Elijah Mitchell, as good as he's looked, look how injured
6th
he is.
round.
I mean, yeah. But that's fine. We had a little diversion. We can go back to who we're going to get at pick number 224. And so, yeah, whatever you want to do, man, it's all you. It's your shot.
Well, we talked about double dipping into the tackle spot. There's a guy out of Old Dominion.
Okay, let's see if he's available. Oh, Nick Saldivari. I definitely know who he is. Yes. You want to get him?
Let's get him.
All right, let's get him. Let's see what his measurables are. 6'6", 315. I like that. Okay.
And the thought process for me with Nick Saldivari is that he's like we're gonna need to eventually replace Trent Williams. I know everybody hates to hear that, but like he's getting up there in age. We need somebody to develop. Like so I like Saldivari. He fell a lot because of his combine but the guy is just steady. He's just steady.
Hey, if the film looks good, I'm not going to trip too much off of a slow 40 time, or maybe he didn't bench press, 55, 225 pounds, 55 times like the next guy did,
For sure.
Yeah, so it is what it is when it comes to the combine. So we're at pick number 249 of the 49ers.
DeMario is sitting there. DeMario Douglas.
DeMario Douglas from Liberty, wide receiver. First look, he's 5'8", 170. What do you like about this guy? He's a little guy.
Little guy, but he's quick. And like he's super quick, and he's a gamer. I just like him.
Okay, so we're gonna pick him.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, let's go for him. So we got him. We got another playmaker in the mix. So he's gonna give Danny Grayson competition, or I assume, or Ray McLeod.
He's more of like a jitterbug type of guy. Like he's more of a almost a Ray type of guy, except he doesn't fumble.
All right, so we're at the last pick for the 49ers. I like that, except for he doesn't fumble, right? Let's hope he doesn't if we get him. Pick number 255. What are we doing? We're going kicker. What position do you have in mind?
Let's see if Moody's still there.
Moody, he probably is. I've been doing these mocks. I've been seeing him pop up, and then people got mad at me for picking him late. I'm like, hey,
there he is. There it is.
He's right there.
Done.
The kicker god of University of Michigan, who everybody loves and adores. So we're going to get a grade on your draft. We're going to get a grade on your draft. No, I think it's going to be a good one.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Like,
So
I've been doing these mocks. PFF does not give me good grades.
Oh, I've been getting A's. I've been getting a lot of A's lately. Just not to pump my chest or anything, but let's go through the first round. Not the first round, but the first pick. That is number 99 overall, Tyler Steen, tackle of Alabama. I love the pick. They didn't like it so much. They're saying C minus. With the pick 101, you got Luke Schoonmaker. C plus. Tight end from Michigan for pick 101. I like this pick as well, even though they gave you a D minus, but I love the pick. Center for Michigan. Center for Michigan at pick 102. Olusegun Oluwatimi. There you go. And then round 5 at 157, we got cornerback Starling Thomas, the fifth, I guess. They gave you a C plus on that from UAB.
He's one of my favorites out of this mock. Like, but I don't understand PFF sometimes.
Yeah, I mean either. Cam Jones from Indiana was at 166. They gave you A minus on that pick. There you go, linebacker. Yeah. Perhaps he steps in and takes over where Aziz Al-Shire left off. And this is a pretty good value pick right here. Viliami Fehoko, edge pass rusher out of San Jose State, local guy. They gave you an A on that with the 173rd pick overall in the 5th round. And then we have running back Eric Gray from Oklahoma in the 6th round. They give you A plus on that one. You say he's a workworse type guy.
He was for Oklahoma. Speed. I don't know if they plan on him being one. He's probably going to be a depth guy in the pros.
But he's probably somebody. Sounds like more of a power type guy that we can mix in with our breakaway type guys. And so after that was a really nice pick. I like this. They didn't like it. They gave you a C minus. But Nick Saldiveri, tackle from Old Dominion. I'm all about beefing up in the trenches, so we must do it. Wide receiver Demario Douglas was picked at 249 in the 7th round. They gave you a B minus. And last but not least, kicker Jake Moody, picked at 255 overall. They gave you a C plus. You got an overall B on your draft grade, so not bad. So they basically, you're the first 49ers mock draft that we did on my channel for this offseason. So give yourself a hand. Everybody give Pete a hand. And if you guys don't know who Pete is, you're not subscribed to Niner Fanatic Podcast, click on the description box of the video. You'll see the link to Niner Fanatic Podcast on YouTube, and you'll see his Twitter page as well. And it's been great having you on, man.
I appreciate being on, brother. Like, appreciate you, Bashar. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Chat was popping tonight. And make sure that you subscribe, to, of course, Bashar's channel. But give me a look. Come and visit anytime you guys want to. We're trying to build the community. Make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend so we can be friends every week. And that's what it is.
When I heard that line, that reminded me of Notorious B.I.G.
Oh, yeah, that's where I got it. That's where I got it. I'm old.
all my little rap lines, my little catchy rap tunes are from that era, man. Like if somebody dropped one from this era, I probably wouldn't catch on to it. I love those little catchy catchphrases, you know what I mean? Especially if they're from an old school rap song. So somebody in the chat says, what up, Snapman? He says, whatever Joe says, do the opposite. These guys are poking fun at each other in terms of, because he said you picked the wrong running back. I don't know. What running back did you want, Joey, at that pick when he got the wrong guy? I don't know. I'm not sure who you wanted. Joey likes to really, really fast running backs. He'll send me clips of this running back and be like, oh, this guy's a Danny Gray of running backs, and we should pick him, So
there's not a lot this year, I noticed. There's not a lot of burners at the running back spot this year. There's a lot of north and south guys. A lot of that size guy, that 5'9", 5'10", to a little over 200 pounds. But a lot of those guys, but no burners. So especially not late.
And I noticed I was talking about the trenches. From the way I was looking at it, this draft is pretty thin at tackle, in my opinion, but even thinner at center. So when I do these mock drafts and I reach for certain offensive linemen, I do it because obviously it's out of necessity. And on top of that, we have an abundance of picks, 11 picks overall. So, hey, give me 2 picks that I can reach on if I seriously need to fill that need, and that needs of importance. And the other picks I can do best player available, or third or second best player available on the chart pertaining to what need I have, But every now and then I think it's okay to reach when you have an abundance of picks. I don't see anything wrong with that.
That's the whole premise that behind my mocks every time is that it's not so much about it's you're going to get graded on the position on where you pick the guy, but the 49ers have shown over and over and over again they don't care about where the guy's picked. They go and get the guy that they want. And and that's I've kind of grown to that realization for as far as my mocks. So when I look at a guy and I see that he may be supposed to go later, I may have to go get him right now. I can't trust that he's going to fall. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Joey was mentioning the running back that he liked in the chat. He said the guy from Minnesota, Ibrahim. Now I remember who he was talking. Yeah,
he's got the same makeup.
There you go. Okay. So anything going on with your channel that you want to talk about that you got going on within this week or next week?
Tomorrow I got Steph Sanchez on. We'll be talking combine recaps. And then you're part of it too. The 49er Podcast Network on Thursday. I'll be on that show with Forever Faithful, Brandon, and whoever else is on that day. We got so many talented content creators that who knows who's gonna be on. You guys just gotta tune in and see who's gonna be on.
I'll be on there as well. And if you're gonna post about on the community tab, on your community tab, you can tag me on it and I'll share it on there. And just as a reminder, when we all go, I'll go there on Thursday and I'll have it tweeted out on my Twitter. So man, I appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys have been awesome.
Yeah.
We talked about all kinds of things. We covered everything from Pete Lucas's background in terms of growing up as a Niner fan. Talked about a little food. We talked about hip hop. We talked about his early experiences, watching Niners, and obviously we talked about the free agency, the draft. We covered it all basically, and there's gonna be plenty more to talk about as the offseason continues. I'm really excited about I'm always more excited about the draft and free agency. Free agency, I'm like as I'm always like a pessimist when it comes to free agency. I'm like, oh well, it's not like we have that much money anyways. But hey, last year that we made that splash with Mooney Ward, so hey, you never know. I mean, you never know who we could pick up, and if we get a nice pass rusher, you'll see me on here cheering and being excited. But again, thank you everybody for watching 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. So keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er minded. Peace. Let's go. Let's do this.
Come on, 49er faithful, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We gotta do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. It's 49er mind.
We gotta get that brick by brick done quick.
49er mind.
Yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mind.